Content warning. The following video contains material that may be harmful or traumatizing to some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Broken clock on the back wall, counting down till the last bell rings. You lock the door with the plastic smile, say this is just our little secret thing. Ink stains on my test paper, your hand leaning where it shouldn't be. You twist the rules like a gold ring, say it's love, say it's meant to be. Leave the kids alone.
Just when you thought you could turn your back and walk away, the dark cloud of human indignity follows you. You have no choice but to turn and look it in the eye. It's the sex offender hit list.
Let's get it.
Are you ready?
Alright, coming up next, we have a sex offender standoff from Groveton, Texas. A wanted man barricaded himself inside an RV on Kickapoo Road when deputies attempted to serve a felony warrant at about 9 o'clock Friday. That's p.m. Trinity County Sheriff Woody Wallace said the man had 2 felonies for sexual assault and that he was registered in Polk County but had been living in Trinity County since April, missing about 5 registration deadlines. It figures par for the course for these guys, right? Deputies came to serve a warrant when they were notified of his presence in Trinity County. The man was identified as Keith K.D. Williams. Wallace said once the deputies began communicating with Williams, he started throwing items out the door and the windows and saying all kinds of crap to him. He said he didn't want to go back to prison. Well, I'm not going to spoil it for you, so here's a video and an aftermath statement by the sheriff.
So quick update real quick, just so you know, we're still over here on Kickapoo. He's inside screaming, hollering, throwing stuff. He got a spear in his hand at one time. He's chunked all kinds of stuff at officers. Chemicals, water, to propane tanks, blocks of wood, anything he can find, he's been throwing out at us. You see we ripped off the windows, we've been putting in pepper spray and canisters of CS. And it's not really phased him much. We don't know what he's on yet. Right now the chief is talking to him. He's making no sense of what he's saying. He's just repeating what we say, mocking us. But he is in here, and everybody wondered about the dog. The dog just came up a few minutes ago. The dog is safe. It's outside.
What? She is? Okay.
Chief's talking to him now.
So where's she at? Where's she at?
Multiple times he'll swing around. He's been shot with rubber buckshot and bean bags. Multiple shots.
Where's your wife at? Come on, man. That ain't nice. I'm not playing with you either.
He's not planning on giving up.
Okay, so why,
This is just a brief update. I'm fixing to turn the camera back off. We're still trying to do it.
Why do you want to die, Keith? Not going back where?
Saying he doesn't want to go back to prison. He's a two-time sex offender, failure to register. We have the one on him. We got a Crime Stopper tip that he was living over here in our county. He's from Polk County. He hasn't registered over there since April of 2022 based on the DPS website. He's supposed to register quarterly. He hasn't registered since then, so he's missed like 5 registrations since then. And he's been hiding over here apparently in this camper, which I'd say this camper is probably not livable after today. All the windows have been ripped out of it. He's been throwing stuff at us.
Why do you want to die?
Now he's communicating saying he wants to just die because he doesn't want to go back to prison.
Well, who's up there?
That's where we're at right now, and if this comes to a peaceful standoff, we'll update y'all later. Good morning. Saturday morning, this is Sheriff Woody Wallace, Trinity County Sheriff's Office. Just going to give y'all an update. The suspect is now in custody. He is now on his way to the hospital. And we also have a deputy on the way to the hospital. The suspect hit one of our deputies in the head with a hammer. I don't believe I've ever seen anybody this hard to get into custody before in my life. This guy took multiple canisters of CS, pepper spray, did not have anything shielding it, no mask, no nothing. I never seen anything like it. He ended up getting tased, probably rode the lightning for 45 seconds before he decided to give up. That was after 6 men were holding him down, trying to get cuffs on him. Unbelievable, incredible, supernatural strength, I guess, from the adrenaline or whatever else he may be on. I have no idea, but he is in custody. He does have some wounds where I think the less lethal shotgun, which is the bean bags and the rubber bullets, he got sent to get checked out. And like I said, he hit one of our deputies in the head with a hammer. He was throwing spears at us, the big spears you get like from Academy, arrows, anything he can get his hands on, he was throwing at the deputies. We were in a standoff here, I'd say, probably for a good 5 hours before we got him out. And but everybody went home alive. That's a good thing. I don't believe any injuries are life-threatening. But we did have one deputy go to the hospital to get checked out to make sure he doesn't have a concussion or anything like that. So, thank y'all. I want to thank Angelina County for certain. Thank Sheriff Tom Selman over at Angelina County. He sent his guys over. He sent lots of equipment that we don't have in this small county. Flashbangs, which is what we ended up having to use to get in there to stun him till we got in. he provided us with some more canisters of CS gas and stuff like that because we'd run out of them. So thanks to Tom Selman, Sheriff over in Angelina County, and his deputies that came over. We want to appreciate them very much. And let everybody know that, again, that the guy's in custody, and it looks like everybody's probably going to be okay. So thank y'all very much, and we all got pepper spray and CS all over us, so it's time for us to go get cleaned up. Y'all have a good rest of the morning, and we'll talk to you later. Thank you very much.
Police in Bensalem, Bucks County arresting the man you see there, 35-year-old Alicio Caraballo. He's accused of traveling to have sex with a minor. Investigators say he was talking to a 12-year-old girl on social media. Then, after a number of sexually explicit exchanges, he allegedly arranged to meet her for a sexual encounter. Bensalem police met him at that location and quickly made the arrest.
A former girls basketball coach charged in 2018 with engaging in sex acts with one of his players has been found guilty of 3 felonies. That's according to court records. A jury today found Keith Cash guilty of committing a sex act with a minor and charges relating to contacting a minor to commit a sex offense. Sentencing in the case is set for November 30th.
Now fired Kentucky school superintendent faces sex charges involving minors.
State police arrested 51-year-old Dr. Matthew Constant yesterday for sexual solicitation of minors. He was the superintendent for Owensboro Public Schools until the school board voted to fire him in June. Police started the investigation in May after allegations Constant was having a relationship with a student. During that investigation, police searched his electronic devices. They say more charges are likely and that the investigation has also spanned into other states.
A federal prison inmate was sentenced Friday to more than 24 years for killing Christian Mehrer. Christian Mehrer was the mastermind of an international child exploitation ring. Alex Albert Castro, he's a 43-year-old. He was sentenced more than 4 years after Mehrer was kicked, stomped, stabbed with a shank, 28 times, by the way, and thrown down a flight of metal stairs during an attack at a Milan federal prison in January of 2019. U.S. District Judge Jonathan J.C. Gray ordered the sentence to run consecutively to a 42-year sentence that Castro was serving for a drug crime. Mehrer, who was 40 at the time of his death, was from Binghamton, New York. He founded a computer graphics company and was killed 1 month after being sentenced for heading an online group that perfected preying on preteen and teenage girls. His members, who posed as teenage boys, trolled social media websites to lure victims to a private online chat room before manipulating them, 100 of them at least, including one from my area here in Metro Detroit, to strip and perform sexual acts on camera. Well, glad he's gone.
County, a retired officer and church youth leader has now been arrested. 68-year-old Kevin Morrison is charged with 8 counts of possession of child sexual abuse material. News4Jax reporter Marilyn Parker joins us live with details on this investigation. Marilyn?
So within the hour, we got the arrest warrant for Kevin Morrison from the FDLE. It explains how the initial tip came in May of this year, but we learned those uploads actually happened in January of 2022.
Kevin Morrison was part of the community, 68 years old, a retired cop, former church photographer, and youth leader. He has a law enforcement instructor certification. But that's not all. He's now accused of having child sexual abuse materials. On May 26, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children sent the FDLE a tip about someone uploading child sexual abuse material to the internet.
How do these cyber tips work? So we take reports from the general public and also from electronic service providers, really anything that could be perceived as sexual exploitation of minors.
Jennifer Newman is the executive director in NCMEC's Exploited Children Division. She says just last year, they received 32 million cyber tips showing how widespread online sexual exploitation is. Also last year, Florida law enforcement got more than 57,000 reports related to the possession, distribution, or production of child sexual abuse material. And through FDLE's investigation, they identified Morrison as the user. 2 months later, the FDLE and the Baker County Sheriff's Office searched his house and job. They found digital files of child sexual abuse material. Morrison was arrested. Newman says child exploitation is hard to spot, especially for those who would seem to be safe around children.
We often call the victims of child sexual exploitation victims hiding in plain sight because they're normally right where they should be with people they should be with. And unfortunately, at times, these are the exact people that actually end up betraying the children.
And, hearing those numbers, they are quite shocking. Now more than ever, we're told that parents need to maintain an open line of communication with their kids and their internet use. If you head over to news4jax.com on this story, we have some tips that
Valley official charged with having a sexual relationship with a Poland high school student is asking for his trial to be moved. The attorney representing Steve Kent filed a motion Thursday in Mahoning County Common Pleas Court asking Judge John Durkin for a change of venue. This is video from a previous court appearance. Kent is a former Poland school resource officer and current Austintown Township trustee. He was indicted in April of 2022 for having an inappropriate relationship with a student and was charged with sexual battery. Kent's jury trial is scheduled to begin on August 7th.
Let's head over to Van Nuys, California. A judge has ordered a former West Valley martial arts trainer to pay $50 million to a teenage girl who accused him of routinely sexually assaulting her after he failed to respond to her lawsuit for nearly 3 years. The civil judgment comes after the trainer, Nicholas Welker Arujo, a 32-year-old, was convicted in 2020 of lewd or lascivious acts with a child between 14 and 15 years old. He was released from incarceration in 2021 and is listed on the state's sex offender registry as being homeless in Ventura. Arujo was the owner of the now shuttered Overall Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy in Agora Hills. His former student, identified only as Jane Doe, claimed Arujo had been grooming her in 2016 when she was 13 and eventually went on to have sex with her on a nearly daily basis. $50 million. That's what you get, Chomo.
5 today, the suspended Manual football coach is now wanted by police, accused of having sex with a female student.
WDRB's Valerie Chin explains what we've learned about that case. Valerie?
Donnie Stoner has an active warrant for his arrest on allegations he had sex with a female underage student. WDRB obtained this flyer saying LMPD is looking for him. This flyer was distributed internally to LMPD saying Stoner is wanted for rape 3rd degree and sodomy 3rd degree. The fugitive unit is looking for Stoner with orders that he and his vehicle need to be secured when he is found. JCPS released a statement. Following our policies and procedures, Donnie Stoner has been reassigned to a job location where he will not have contact with children. His status is still temporarily removed as football coach. JCPS is not saying why Stoner was suspended. He's also a teacher at Manual. JCPS says he can't have contact with staff, parents, or students. In 2022, Stoner took over the football program and led Manual to a 9-3 record. Josh Gillespie has been named as acting head coach until further notice. We're continuing to follow the story and we'll keep you posted.
Fugitive wanted in an alleged child rape case in Dayton is in custody in Cleveland this morning. U.S. Marshals arrested 48-year-old Augustine Rosales yesterday afternoon. He's charged with 2 counts of sexual battery, 1 count of rape of a child under 13, and 1 count of unlawful sexual contact with a minor. Rosales is now awaiting extradition back to Dayton. He's also the father of the late Lucas Rosales, the 7-year-old who went missing at Eastwood Lake in April.
The Indiana police officer in court today facing charges of attempted voyeurism and exploitation of a child.
New video shows his arrest while on duty. WLWT News 5 Stephen Albritton breaks down the charges that police say landed Officer Kyle Davis in jail.
This all stems back to an incident where Officer Kyle Davis allegedly tried to film a young girl in the bathroom of his home back in 2020. Here's video just released to us this morning of him being arrested at the Madison Police Department. You can see him walk in full uniform, including his gun. After standing there for about 15 seconds, he heads towards the door, and that is when other officers arrive and put him in handcuffs. Now, according to the child victim, who was 15 years old at the time, she was at Davis's house for a birthday party for his daughter when he blocked her from using the restroom. She says he went in first, and when she went in after he left, That's when she noticed a phone set to record buried in a pile of clothes. She recently decided to come forward after a presentation at her school about child abuse prevention. The victim told investigators she remembered the specific day it happened because she'd recently just got her learner's permit. Also in court documents, Davis first tried to say his son was responsible for the recordings. Investigators found mentions of voyeurism, spy cams, teen sex, and cheerleaders in his search history on his phone, and also 2 pictures of 8-year-old girls in their underwear. Today, bond was set at $100,000. He's due back in court for a pretrial in September and is on unpaid administrative leave from the VV Police Department.
The Sabine County District Attorney's Office has announced that a man has received 10 years of probation and 10 years of deferred adjudication after being found guilty on charges of online solicitation of a minor and indecency with a child. Ralph Carson Hill, Jr., 45-year-old, was arrested by the Sabine County Sheriff's Department on the charges back in February. If Hill breaks probation, he'll have to serve the 10-year sentence in the state prison. Additionally, Hill was ordered to pay a total of $10,000 in fines, $614 in court costs, and $825 in attorney fees. And he must register as a sex offender. You know, something's wrong here. Again, it's got to change as far as how these judges and prosecutors handle these types of cases. Because I can almost guarantee you this guy's going to reoffend again.
Alamance County investigators arrested the caregiver of a minor on charges of committing indecent liberties with a child. The county's Special Victims Unit investigated the case. Deputies arrested 35-year-old Billy Daniels of Burlington yesterday. He's in jail under a $75,000 bond.
I think you represent a threat to public safety. If I could give you more than a year, I would.
A man charged with sex crimes against children in the 1990s sentenced for those crimes today. Good evening, I'm Sean Owsley. Mark Hoffmeister's children were active at a Spokane area gymnastics academy in the 90s. He'd been accused of child rape and molestation, but ended up taking a plea deal for indecent liberties. Today, he was sentenced to 1 year in prison. Nonstop Local's Dimitri Maragos was in a visibly emotional courtroom today.
Yeah, good evening, Sean. You could hear the relief in the courtroom today once Hoffmeister's sentence was announced. Once the defendant left, victims cheered and clapped. But perhaps the most revealing moment were the judge's words to the defendant.
I think you represent a threat to public safety. If I could give you more than a year, I would.
Judge Tony Hazel speaking directly to Mark Hoffmeister during his sentencing. Hoffmeister's crime date back almost 30 years when he worked at a Northwest Gymnastics Academy in Spokane. An anonymous tip in 2019 led to an investigation and ultimately Hoffmeister's arrest. Hoffmeister's victims visibly emotional during Friday's sentencing.
I have waited 27 years to finally face him and have my story heard.
The victims gave deeply personal and detailed accounts of how Hoffmeister manipulated their trust and ultimately took advantage of them. A friend of Hoffmeister's daughter says she was also a victim.
It was at one of these sleepovers where the defendant was able to use his position of power and trust to abuse me sexually, and I became his victim.
Hoffmeister maintains his innocence and had a message to his family.
I'm extremely sorry for the circumstances of all this. There's many people that are hurting. People like my wife.
Judge Hazel spoke directly to the defendant's supporters with a chilling message.
To those members of your friends and family that think that you didn't molest, I think you're deluded. And I'd be really worried if you were allowed to let this man around a child. I'm concerned for public safety.
Now, I did speak to one of the victims after the sentencing who says she is relieved after today's results, but does believe that Hoffmeister does deserve life in prison.
This is 80-year-old Kenneth Wayne Sego. He's just been released from prison. Look what it did to him. This is just to inform you that he's a registered sex offender and he's coming to Apache Junction, Arizona. So if you see a motorized rolling bed coming at your kids, just be aware this guy's coming for you.
Look at this dude. Wait till you see the. No, 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 no. Look at the top of his head. Look at his lips.
The Hartford chiropractor and coach accused of having a sexual relationship with a teenage girl under his care had his bond reduced today, but he still remains behind bars. 31-year-old Joe Martin's bond was reduced to $50,000 cash, in part because a rape charge was dropped. The victim was 16, not 15 as first reported, when he allegedly began having sex with the girl during office visits. He is still charged with sexual contact with a child by a person in authority, along with possession of child pornography and exploitation of a minor. The victim told investigators that the two had sex more than 100 times at her chiropractic appointments and twice at his home when his wife was gone. In court today, Martin's defense attorney said that no other alleged victims have come forward since this story was first reported earlier this week, and that Martin's is not a threat to the community.
A Palm Coast man who was arrested in May of 21 on child molestation charges was found guilty after a 4-day trial by Flagler County jury. Monserrate Tehran, a 59-year-old, was found guilty on July 28th of 2 counts of sexual battery of a person less than 12 years of age and lewd or lascivious molestation on a person less than 12 years of age, according to a press release from the 7th District State Attorney's Office. Tehran was arrested back in May of 21 when his then 9-year-old victim came forward about the abuse. The case was investigated by the Flagler County Sheriff's Office and successfully tried by Assistant State Attorney Melissa Clark, the press release said. Flagler County Circuit Court Judge Terrence Perkins presided over the case and will do so again when pronouncing his sentencing at a later date. Jonesboro, Arkansas. Police arrested a convicted sex offender after they say he sent nude photos to his juvenile victim. Greene County District Judge Daniel Stidham found probable cause to charge 20-year-old Nicholas E. Vornes of Osceola with computer exploitation of a child as well as CSA material. Vornes had been in contact with his previous sexual assault victim, with whom he had been ordered to have no contact. Detectives interviewed the victim, who also gave consent for investigators to search her phone, and the victim had been in contact with Vornes for months, and Vornes had been requesting and received multiple nude photographs from the juvenile victim. Detective Lieutenant Robert E. Sexton said in the affidavit that Vornes sent nude photographs and sexually explicit videos to the juvenile and attempted to get the juvenile to meet up with him to have sex. On Thursday, July 27th, police arrested him and took him to the Greene County Detention Center, where he is being held without bond, awaiting his next court appearance. What really gets me here is this guy was out on probation here, and his original charge was for harboring a teenage runaway and forcing her to have sex with him while he was filming. I really don't understand our court systems. I mean, if it was me, he would have gotten a life sentence to start with, and that way the second crime would have never happened. 55-year-old Wayne Powers goes on trial in October on charges that he allegedly repeatedly raped a minor that resided with him over a 5-year period starting in early January of 2012 and up until the end of 2018. He's been under strict conditions of release since his arrest in 2019, including not having any contact with minors who aren't direct relatives. Any underage children who come to visit, such as grandchildren, are to be constantly eyes-on supervised. No minors are allowed to reside at the home per judge's orders. 9 days ago, the daughter of his ex-wife gave birth to a newborn baby, and she came home to live in the same residence as Powers. Powers and his wife divorced several months ago, but he still lives in the house. This caused Powers to be in violation of the conditions of release. In court Friday afternoon, prosecutor Alexander Burke asked Judge Carrie McDonald Cady to rescind Powers' release and hold him in custody without bail because of the new violation, and not to allow Powers to live at the Bennington property. After a brief recess, the judge decided that since the trial is set to begin in the next few months, and under the assumption that Powers would never be alone with the baby, citing testimony from the newborn's mother and grandmother, that she would allow him to stay in the home. Burke's motion to hold Powers without bail was denied. I don't have any concerns for the newborn safety, McDonald Katie announced after her decision. I'm certain the parents would not let the child alone with Mr. Powers being such a young child. The judge did, however, change one aspect of Powers' current conditions, that there are to be no minor children allowed inside the residence. You know, hold on a second here, man. Wouldn't you just think the judge would stipulate that to start with, considering the charges this guy has? I really don't understand this. Testimony revealed that several minor children had been visiting the residence weekly, so the judge took exception to that fact for once. Powers has a criminal history in Vermont, including a 2010 domestic assault. He is scheduled for a 4-day jury trial starting in mid-October. Powers is facing 3 charges: repeated aggravated sexual assault with a child, aggravated sexual assault with a victim under 13, and lewd and lascivious conduct with a child. All felonies. He faces a maximum life sentence if he's convicted.
An Iowa Park man is facing more charges of alleged possession of child pornography. According to court documentation, David Hobbs Ray is charged with 10 new counts of possession of child pornography and is jailed with bonds totaling $200,000. On June 6, 2023, a search warrant was issued at an apartment on Johnson Road in Iowa Park for a subject, Ray, who had allegedly downloaded child pornography. Ray admitted to knowing why police were there and said that it had been going on for most of his life. An arrest warrant was issued and Ray was jailed for possession of child pornography based on evidence found. He was freed on a $10,000 bond. On July 13th, a search warrant on a Google cell phone that belongs to Ray found images and videos depicting what appeared to be female children under the age of 18 years in various sexual positions. Warrants for Ray's arrest were issued. He remained in jail on 10 counts of possession of child pornography Saturday, July 29th.
The former assistant basketball coach for Pecos High School was sentenced today for tricking students into sending him nude photos and having sex with them. Joshua Rico used social media to manipulate at least 4 victims between the age of 14 and 16 years old to send him sexually explicit photos and videos, as well as engage in sexual activities. This happened for 3 years, starting in January of 2018. Rico pled guilty to 5 counts of coercion and enticement of a minor back in December. He was sentenced to 30 years behind bars.
The state's electronic detection K-9 and several law enforcement agents worked together to arrest a man for crimes against children. Nicholas Pandis was taken into custody in Hot Springs. He is charged with 30 counts of distributing and possessing child pornography. Today, Attorney General Tim Griffin thanking agents K-9 Lucy and her handler who took part in that bust. He said, quote, "This is exactly how we envisioned her helping us bring criminals to justice."
Robert Anthony Cox Jr., a 35-year-old of Westwood, Oregon, was convicted by a jury this week of continuous sexual abuse in violation of Penal Code 288.5 of 2 children, both under the age of 14. Cox committed these crimes nearly 5 years ago when the minors were just 7 and 9 years old, but were not reported to law enforcement until January of 2022. And it's very common in these kind of cases. The prosecutor's case consisted of 8 witnesses, including the minor kids, over 2 days of testimony. The jury reached its decision Thursday morning. They made a special finding with respect to the victim, subjecting Cox to California's one-strike rule as it pertains to certain enumerated child sex crimes committed against 2 or more victims under the age of 14. He will now face a life sentence. Good, for once. We thank the jurors for their time and attention over the past 3.5 days. Special recognition should go to the minor kids for coming forward, not only to report but to testify. It takes a lot of guts, and participate in the prosecution. This was difficult for them and their families, and we wish them well, and we wish to continue to support them as they continue with the healing process. Sentencing date hasn't yet been set, but when it does, we'll be sure to find it right here on the Sex Offender Hit List.
An Eastern Carolina man faces up to 33 years in prison after pleading guilty to raping a child. Orlando Corey of Richlands pleaded guilty to rape of a child by an adult and first-degree statutory sex offense with a child by an adult. He was arrested in early 2022. Corey was a friend of the victim's family, according to deputies, and the man had sexual relations with her over a 2-year period. They say that Corey confessed after a search of his Asbury Park Lane home. Corey will be required to be on the state's sex offender registry for the rest of his life and have no contact with the victim. Deputies say the U.S. Attorney's Office is reviewing possible federal charges against the man.
A Missouri man faces child exploitation charges in Kentucky following an undercover investigation. According to Kentucky State Police, 35-year-old Michael Ray Lansness was arrested in Franklin County today. Authorities started the investigation after they say the suspect solicited sexually explicit pictures of minors online. Investigators say they arrested Lansness after he traveled to Kentucky with the intention of meeting a child. He's now being held on a $50,000 cash bond. Police say the investigation continues.
A Madison man pleaded guilty this week to a charge of unlawful sexual contact after assaulting a child under the age of 10, the Somerset County Sheriff's Office said. 34-year-old Matthew Jacob entered his plea Monday in a Skowhegan courtroom and was sentenced to 10 years in prison, with all but 5 years suspended, Sheriff Dale Lancaster said in a news release. He was immediately taken into custody. Upon completion of his term, Jacob will be placed on probation for 12 years, and as a condition of his probation, he's also required to undergo sex offender counseling. The conviction also requires Jacob to be placed on Maine's sex offender registry. This conviction stems from an investigation commenced by Detective Jeremy Leal in May of 22 that began with a tip that an alleged sexual assault occurred in Jacob's residence between September of 21 and May of 22, Lancaster said in a statement. Jacob was arrested and charged back of June of 22.
This man is convicted in a federal child pornography case after reaching a plea deal with prosecutors. Michael Cannell pleaded guilty to one count of child pornography today in connection to hidden cameras recording videos of underage girls undressing in his guest bathroom. Other counts against Cannell were dropped. The charge carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison, but his plea deal seeks between 5 and 8 years of confinement. Cannell will be sentenced in late October.
A Melbourne man is accused of molesting 2 children under the age of 12 who were living in his home. Police tell us the children and their mother were staying in a room at William Grinton's home. Police say the kids were not related to the suspect, who is now charged with 3 counts of lewd and lascivious molestation of a child.
New Braunfels, Texas. A registered sex offender who was arrested earlier this month on child sex crime charges is once again wanted by law enforcement authorities. Jared Gaines Kirkus, a 40-year-old of Marion, was arrested on July 12th after a Como County Sheriff's Office deputy said he was caught picking up a young female at her home in late June. The day after Kirkus was arrested, jail records show that he was released on a cash bond of $350,000. And then on Friday, Como County Sheriff's Office announced that a new arrest warrant for possession with intent to promote child pornography was issued. Kirkus is a registered sex offender in Guadalupe County and lures his victims through the Snapchat app. Anyone who has information on him is asked to call Crime Stoppers, and anonymous tips can always be left online at the Crime Stoppers website. Tips that do lead to an arrest could result in a cash reward of up to $4,000.
Office is looking for 26-year-old Dustin Martin of Pitkin. He's wanted on charges including molestation of a juvenile and oral sexual battery. Anyone who sees either suspect should contact the Vernon Parish Sheriff's Office.
In Posey County, a man has been arrested after he violated a no-contact order. Officials say Jorge Gonzalez is being held in the Posey County Jail for the violation, stemming back to pending child molestation charges out of Orange County, Indiana. His bond has since been revoked in the Orange County case.
A Hocking man was sentenced to 45 years in federal prison today for sexually exploiting children as young as 3 years old. 37-year-old Robert Gimian-Hart and his significant other, Carrie Daniels, are federally charged. Charges came down last year for producing and possessing child pornography. Daniels pleaded guilty to 2 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor and 1 count of possession of child pornography. She is awaiting her sentencing.
In a developing story, a man convicted of incest in Tulsa County is getting out of prison 23 years ahead of schedule. Fox 23's John Acebas talked to the man's daughter today. She was not the victim, but still vividly remembers the pain it caused her family.
Burt Minor was convicted of incest in 2009, but despite a 37-year sentence, he's getting out this August after only serving 14 years behind bars.
I'm hurt.
I'm scared.
That's Kimberly Minor, his daughter.
Oh my God. How did he get out?
The short answer is good behavior.
His crime is not one of those that has a statutory minimum. So he is just a part of the level system in which we award credits based on proper conduct, cleanliness, if you have a job, if you're going to school, things like that.
Kay Thompson with the Oklahoma Department of Corrections says between 2009 and 2020, the ODOC faced population problems, so extra credit was given for good behavior. That all changed after an internal review and an attorney general opinion saying it had no legal basis.
We were giving more good conduct credits, but then we should have, because those are kind of already a part of the level system.
Here's how it looks on paper. Court documents show in July of 2010, he got 16 extra credit days for good behavior with time served. That knocked a total of 47 days off his sentence. But starting in July of 2014, when Minor reached the level for extra credits, he got 44 extra days off, plus another 15, giving him 90 total days off his sentence, and more than doubling the amount he earned for the same month 4 years before.
So almost every month he was getting 3 months off.
Yes, during that time.
That seems like a lot, even for anybody.
Sure. And that was not just, that was across the board. That was everyone incarcerated with us were getting those sorts of credits.
Thompson says ODOC realized they needed to make a change.
The AG had determined that we were basically, and we also looked into it ourselves, but they just confirmed what we felt was that we were giving more good conduct credits. We were like double dipping, basically, giving them more than what we had.
The policy change comes too late for Minor's daughter, who remembers what happened to her family. Specifically, details in court records showing Minor manipulated the victim psychologically from the age of 13. Records say he claimed it was God's will.
He's a manipulator. He's an abuser, a child abuser. He's a molester. He will make you think he's a good guy and turn around and he's not. He's evil, straight up evil.
Come August, Minor will have served less than half his sentence.
Where's the justice in that? The justice system is slapping the victim in the face saying, oh, it's not a big deal.
Covering news that matters, I'm John Acebas, Fox 23 News.
We'll go ahead and get started. This operation is for search warrant service. This is an undercover chat investigation.
It's an early morning wake-up call for Sacramento Valley law enforcement.
This actually started in February.
About to head out in search of their suspect.
Right now we have CSU on surveillance on the house. Hopefully about 20 minutes before he leaves.
Looks like he's getting in a looks like gray SUV, white and driving. And just turned to go east. And can you confirm both male and female are in the vehicle?
The man's wanted for a growing crime.
Yeah, for males in the passenger seat.
And deputies know as soon as he's off the streets, another suspect will pop right up. Sacramento County undercover detective Blanco spends most of his time behind a computer screen.
Sometimes I get in and I type all day.
The 10-year vet has made a living trolling the internet.
Sometimes I'll have
5, 6, 7 different personas going.
And 10 different conversations going with different people.
And he's looking for those who are trolling for small children.
A lot of people equate it to like the internet and smartphones to just dropping your kid off at a park unsupervised and leaving, for 8 or 10 hours and then coming back and picking them up.
Most of the time, the chats start out as friendly banter, but inevitably take a dark turn.
I've seen it as, hi, how are you, and then how old are you, 13, 12, 11, whatever, that I'm saying, and then boom, the next one is a picture that's inappropriate or some sort of communication that's sexual in nature.
232, Ray, CRV 2. and just turn to go east.
And when that happens, deputies take action.
So the target in this case is believed to have communicated with at least 3 undercover officers who were online posing as minors.
The target in this case was 54-year-old Brian Schmeltz.
Sheriff's Department, search warrant. If anybody else in here, make yourself known.
His South Sacramento home was raided. Deputies seizing his computers, phones, and tablets.
So we're going to look for those chats. We're going to look for the phone numbers that were used, screen names that were used, different accounts. So if all that stuff's on the phone, this will pull that and we can look at it and we can confirm all those user accounts.
How many predators are there out there?
More than you can count.
So these are our, they're called forensic crack cabinets. Either we just got them assigned to us and the phone came to us on, so we want to keep it on, or like a lot of the ones with the tags on them, they're just not supported yet by any of the software that we have.
The Sheriff's Office is the lead agency for the Sacramento Valley High-Tech Crimes Task Force. The group is made up of 30 counties and 175 law enforcement agencies.
What we've seen with these cases, it doesn't matter, what community you come from, doesn't matter, what job your parents have or how, poor or affluent you are. Anybody can be a victim to these predators.
And to say the task force has been busy is, well, an understatement. The number of cyber tips investigated is up from 770 in 2013 to over 10,000 in 2022.
These evil people, but during COVID, it really took off. Folks are at home on the internet, and we saw an explosion.
2 weeks ago, Sacramento County Sheriff Jim Cooper took to the mic to announce 23 recent arrests and warn parents about the dangers that are lurking.
I mean, we could do this 24/7 and not even make a dent in it. It's like holding your finger in a dike. There is so much out there. These children have their lives ruined, and we've got to do more as a state and as a government to make sure these folks don't have the chance to be repeat offenders.
Unfortunately, it's we have a lot of work, a lot of cases, and a lot more to come.
The work might seem endless and overwhelming.
Just on one application, I have 211 unread messages.
But it's not slowing down detectives from protecting those who need it most.
They're the biggest victims that we have, in my opinion. And anytime you can help a kid or a child, that's huge.
For photojournalist Victor Nieto, Jason Marks, KCRA 3 News.
Brian Schmeltz is expected to make his next court appearance on Monday. The Sacramento County DA's office has a dedicated cyber crimes prosecutor, and recently the Board of Supervisors approved funding for a second cyber crimes prosecutor because there are so many cases.
A Las Cruces, New Mexico man was found guilty by a jury of sexually abusing a teen. The jury found 36-year-old Jose Luis Esparza guilty on 8 counts of criminal sexual abuse, several other counts of criminal sexual penetration, and criminal sexual contact. After the verdict, Esparza was taken into custody. Esparza faces up to 90 or more years in prison for his charges, and his sentencing will be scheduled for a later date. Deputies were called after a report of a criminal sexual incident involving a 14-year-old back in June of 2019. And during the interview, the teen disclosed several incidents of sexual abuse started when she was just 11 years old.
Denied.
Happy birthday, dear Ellie.
Now, Ellie, remember, this is our special secret.
Okay, Uncle Jim. 1 in 5 children is sexually abused before they turn 18.
Make a wish, but remember, it's a secret.
Do you know the signs? I just want everyone to go home. Learn more about the risks of child sexual abuse at sapria.org.
When a child experiences trauma, they can be stripped of their ability to imagine. But imagination is colors. All the colors. Imagination is freedom. And whatever you want it to be. But a child without imagination is not a child at all. Will you help defend our right to imagine? When a child experiences trauma, they can be stripped of their ability to imagine. But imagination is colors. All the colors. Imagination is freedom. And whatever you want it to be. But a child without imagination is not a child at all. Will you help defend our right to imagine? One for a rainbow, one for Amanda.
Who you playing with, sweetie?
Amanda.
Oh, who are you?
I'm Amanda. I'm 6, and I love unicorns.
Sexual predators are seeking kids online.
We don't know Amanda.
Learn how to report abuse at end-violence.org/protect.